North Carolina. And mayors, leaders, local have expressed their sincere gratitude for the work of FEMA and for the work of my entire administration. Now, I've also surged thousands of federal personnel on the ground across the southeast already and deliver every available resource as fast as possible. And my priority is to increase the size and presence of our effort. And as we prepare for another catastrophic storm about to make landfall, you know, I've been in constant contact with our director of the National Weather Service, Ken Graham, who's kept me informed the last several days of what to anticipate. You never know until it happens, but he's very, very engaged. He made clear to me just how dangerous this storm is, indicating that winds have reached up to 180 miles an hour. 180, that's not guaranteed it's going to hit the shore at 180 miles, but they've reached up to 180 miles an hour. And a possible storm surge as it hits the coast of Florida of 15 feet, which can be devastating. The current path of the storm is expected to Tampa Bay area and cut directly across the state, east to west, all the way across the state, with the potential for this storm to both enter Florida as a hurricane and leave Florida as a hurricane on the Atlantic coast. This could be the worst storm to hit Florida in over a century. And God willing, it won't be, but that's what it's looking like right now. Immediately approved the pre-landfall emergency declarations in Florida. This is the second one in a week, the second time in a week, and there have been two before that, by the way. I sent FEMA Administrator Criswell down to Florida yesterday to work intensively with the state and local partners as we prepare to deploy more resources. She's going to continue that work between Florida and North Carolina in the coming days. I'm calling on the airlines and other companies to provide as much service as possible to accommodate evacuations and not to engage in price gouging, to just do it on the level. And last night I spoke again with the governor of Florida, DeSantis, and Tampa Mayor Castro, Castor, and I made it clear to them they should reach out, including to me directly, with everything else they may need as they see this storm hits. I gave them my personal number to contact me here in the White House. Most importantly, I've urged everyone currently located in Hurricane Milton's path to listen to local officials and follow safety instructions. You all have been reporting on the highways, shoulders being opened, everybody's heading out. And if you're under evacuation orders, you should evacuate now. You should have already evacuated. It's a matter of life and death, and that's not hyperbole. It's a matter of life and death. So let me add that FEMA has provided 300 ambulances to move people who can't move themselves out of healthcare facilities. And while we prepare for Hurricane Milton, we're still surging resources in North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee to respond to Hurricane Helene. And it's real. The impact is still there. And we're going to leave, we're not going to leave until the job is done. It's going to take time, and before it's all over, it's going to take tens of billions of dollars to get it done. And Kamala and I are keeping all of you in our prayers out there. There's a lot of people. The good news is, just before we called you in, I received information that the number of missing persons has been significantly reduced, lost from the first hurricane. But we'll have more information on that later. So that's the situation, and we're not going to leave till the job is finished. It's going to take a while.
Sir, what's the risk of political figures sharing misinformation during this time?
The past prologue is real, but the fact of the matter is, I think we have. I've been able to contact all the governors. They are sticking up for what they've asked for. They're pointing out that they're satisfied with everything they're getting. But I can't speak for others on the internet. And I mean, just, look, those who do it to try to damage the administration. Well, we can take care of ourselves. But it misleads people. It puts people in circumstances where they panic, where they really, really, really worry. They think now they're not being taken care of. And it really is, it's going to sound, use an old phrase, it's un-American. It really is. People are scared to death. people know their lives are at stake, all that they've worked for, all that they own, all that they value. And it's just, anyway.
Mr. President, can you give us a sense of how Vice President...
Thank you, guys.
Can you give us a sense of Vice President Harris's role in this?
Wait. I'll have plenty of time to talk about Angola. I still plan on going to Africa. I'll have plenty of time to talk about what's going on in Latin America and South America in terms of the Amazon. And I'm going to be talking today with my friend, the Chancellor of Germany, and we're going to try to work that out. We've already contacted all these people, okay? But I'm going to be on the phone today. I'm heading shortly when I get up from here. I'm heading out to Wisconsin, to Milwaukee. But I think we can, I'm still planning on visiting all the places I said I'd be and all the conferences I said I'd participate in.
Mr. President,
the governor of Florida has been cooperative. He said he's gotten all that he needs. I talked to him again yesterday, and I said, I said, no, you're doing a great job. It's all being done well. We thank you for it. And I literally gave my personal phone number to call. So I don't know. There was a rough start in some places, but every governor from Florida to North Carolina has been fully cooperative and supportive and acknowledged what this team is doing. And they're doing an incredible job. But we got a lot more to do.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, Crux. Let's go. Thank you, Crux.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Chris.
You have to do that. The Vice President, just turn that the other way. The alternative is no.
No, keep this on. We're going to departure room.
I'm not going to the lawn. I thought they needed me to go to the lawn.
No. Because they didn't let us place
Did I
that.
go to the lawn? They wanted me to go to the lawn in front of this.
Oh, okay.
Listen, sir. We confused, sir.
I really appreciate it.
Also ich bin 52 Jahre jünger. You have that transmitter?
Thank you so much. What's your name?
So nothing else still like. Okay, I can't see. Good job, Rudy. Nice job, Rudy.
President, sir. Mr. President, a couple questions, sir. Mr. Hughes, sir.
so much. I really appreciate it.
30 bin 52 Jahre jünger. You have that transmitter?
Thank you so much. What's your name?
So nothing else still like
They don't eat it, dog.
Okay, I can't see.
who I have faithfully served across different capacities inside and outside of government. I've walked your streets, I've supported your small businesses, I've helped build your affordable homes, I've connected your neighbors to jobs, partnered with local leaders, and have always worked to ensure that no neighborhood is left behind. This is my life's work, and I'm humbled that I get to continue this work in this new role. It's a very complex time in our city, but I think that my priorities are very simple. Working with the mayor, those priorities are to focus on the work, to support the incredible leaders we have across City Hall and all of the agencies, and most importantly, to stand shoulder to shoulder with the 300,000 public servants who continue to work tirelessly to deliver services and to improve lives. Now, to accomplish this in New York, we need partnership at all levels of government and all sectors, and that's what I've always done. I've already reached out my hand in friendship to many partners who are eager to build on the progress we have made in this administration, thanks to the mayor's leadership, and to ensure that we keep delivering for our neighbors. So I want to thank you again, Mayor, for this opportunity. And I want to let all New Yorkers know that you are heard and that I am ready to get to work as your first deputy mayor to keep our city moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, who would have thought young Filipino little girl growing up and one day to be the first deputy mayor of the city of New York. This is the greatest country on the globe because we're the greatest city on the globe. And so you could do your thing and run our city. Thank you. Thank you. Let me open it to a few questions. Marsha. Good.
So, Mr. Mayor, it would appear from the arrest today of Mohammed Bahi that the federal officials have a scorched earth policy as it concerns your administration. I wonder if, number one, you could react to the fact that they arrested him today in a straw donor charges and others. And secondly, given the fact that there are 10 people who have left your administration, you filled some of the positions, but how will you fill all of them, and how will you convince the governor and others that you can actually run the city during this time of crisis? If you look at it, we are doing it. We need to be clear on that. We're doing just that. Just look at the numbers, and that's what we must do. Let's analyze how effective has the team. How have they been over the last 10 months, 11 months? You are seeing this city move forward. I just announced the decrease in crime. We announced last week what we're doing around our watershed. You're seeing the continuation of great initiatives moving forward, and we're continuing to do the challenging job, and that's what we're supposed to do, and we're doing that because I have an awesome team. I can't get away from the fact this team is amazing, and we're going to continue to do that. That's our responsibility. The attorneys will handle the legal aspects of it. Everyone knows who my attorney is. Alex will handle that. My job is to continue leading the city, and we're going to do that. I had great conversation with the governor over the weekend. She gave me some of her suggestions. We implemented some of her suggestions. And at the same time, people were saying, Eric, I want to do other things with my life. Like D.M. Banks, who I don't think we really fully understand what he has brought. A former chief of department, he brought all of these initiatives and how to take down those walls and barriers that we had in law enforcement. And now we have a better law enforcement apparatus. And, you know, men and women leave government normally, and then they also leave government when they feel as though people are not treating them with the respect that they deserve. You know, like I saw how Sheena was treated when she was on her street. You know, government is hard, and the goal is to do the work, and I must make sure that I buffer my team from the inability to do the work. And that's my commitment to them, and they're going to continue to do the work.
Charges that were brought against Mohammed Bahi today, it has to do with falsifying evidence and dealing with a straw donor situation.
Mohammed Bahi was one of the top Muslims liaison even before joining the mayor's office. I always found him to be thoughtful. I always found him to be willing to go into all the communities. But what he has done to really bring down the noise in the some of the conflicts that we're seeing today, I think the record will speak loudly for what he has committed. But he has attorneys. Let his attorneys handle his case. And just as, you know, attorneys should do that for any individual that's in contact with law enforcement. His attorney can speak for his case. I know he delivered for New Yorkers, and I thank him for that.
I mean, for your administration, sir, I mean, there's just another charge of somebody else involved in what appears to be malfeasance, this time with donations to your 2021 mayoral campaign.
I think it means that we have to continue to do what I said do, and that's stay focused and run this city the way we have successfully done for 2 years and 10 months. The courtroom will deal with the cases. I must deal with the case of affordable housing, educating our children, keeping our city safe, all of those cases that I must deal with, and that's what I'm going to do.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
How are you?
Good, thanks. 2 questions. On Maria Torres Springer's elevation, is it correct that the governor signed off on her elevation, and is that sort of standard practice?
I'm sorry, which
is it correct that the governor signed off on her being elevated to first deputy mayor, and is that sort of standard practice going forward for personnel changes to get the governor's approval? And then also just on Mohammed Bahi, in the indictment, it says that Bahi told one of these alleged straw donors that you believed that the donor would not cooperate. Can you just explain what that means, that you believed there wouldn't be cooperation?
Well, first, let's deal with the elevation. I'm the mayor. I don't get sign off from other entities to make movement within the department or the agencies. And so I'm not sure where that question came from. You know, did someone tell you that the governor has to sign off on our elevation? Okay. And you know if it's reported, it has to be accurate. You know, listen, I don't get authorizations to move around personnel. As a matter of fact, to the contrary, the governor made it clear that you're the mayor of the city. You have an obligation to continue the success that we have done together. The governor and I have been extremely successful together. She's a partner, and she's the chief executive of the state, but she has made it very clear, you have to pick your team and make sure that you can continue the success that you're doing. She's not sitting, she has to run a state, and she's not sitting around asking what movement you're going to make. Let me make sure that that movement can be done. That has never happened. Whoever reported that gave you inaccurate information. And now, I'm dealing with your question around Bahi. It's the same with everything. I will never instruct anyone to do anything illegal or improper. The only instruction I give people all the time, follow the law. Follow the law is my number one instruction that I give people. Anything other than that, I don't give people illegal information. Son of Jay.
How are you?
Good.
I want to, piggybacking off of Marsha's first question, you've talked in the past about perception, especially when dealing with subway crime, the numbers coming down, but dealing with the perception that is out there among your constituents. So what do you say to the New Yorkers who are watching all of these resignations and they're wondering whether or not your administration can continue to serve them on a daily basis, whether or not you'll become distracted? What do you say to the New Yorkers who are watching all of this unfold day to day?
First of all, when you look at it, I'm really blown away that we're saying all of these resignations. I have 300-something thousand employees. I have a ton of commissioners. I spoke with Commissioner Zach Isco the other day. We had a great conversation, and he's talking about the work that we want to continue to do. I sat down next to Commissioner Tisch when we talked about our impressive rollout and the revolution of changing how we're dealing with cleanliness in our city. And she was clear. You know, she was clear that I'm serving with a mayor that's a visionary that's getting the job done.
And so when people leave government, we want to have the perception of that everyone is fleeing. No, we have over 300,000 employees. People are here to serve the people of the city of New York, and particularly with my deputy mayors. I have a great team of deputy mayors, and the elevation of Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer speaks volume of people are leaning into what bond raters are leaning into. They lean into sustaining our bond rating. And the number of personnel who reach out to me, knock on my door, come to see me, and say, we have a job to do in the city, and we're going to continue to do so. So I say to New Yorkers that are out there, look at what we have done since this investigation first was revealed to us, and look at what we are continuing to do. And we're going to do what I was elected to do. And that is to take our city into a place that those who have been betrayed by government will no longer be betrayed. This is the greatest city on the globe, and I'm going to lead it in the right direction with the right team and with my fellow New Yorkers and organizations.
Hi, Mayor.
How are you, Emma?
Okay, hi. I wanted to ask you about the poll numbers. They were really bad, and I'm curious, do you see a path to re-election at this point, and how disappointing is that, considering that David Dinkins did not get a second term?
I should get the last part.
How disappointing is it to you that there might not be a path to re-election when David Dinkins did not get a second term?
Yeah, first of all, I'm here to serve now. And I say over and over again, people often talk about what happens next. Tomorrow's not promised to any of us. So the question is what do you do in the present? And I'm present right now to serve the people of this city every day, all day, and I love the job of being a mayor and providing for New Yorkers. Many people don't recall because I'm the mayor now, but go back. I was 13 points behind in the poll. Andrew Yang got into the campaign. He was riding the skateboard, and he was all happy. He was measuring the drapes here. He said, I'm going to be the mayor of the city of New York. I was 13 points behind in the poll. And I would see some of you on the campaign trail, and they were like, you 13 points behind, Eric. No one can come back for that. And what did I say? Stay focused, no distractions, and grind. And I stayed there. From those 13 points behind in the poll, and all the figures that came out, there were some very impressive people who were running for mayor. And they thought that, our credentials were going to be better. I was a blue-collar, working-class mayor, was able to connect with immigrant communities who were historically denied any presence from a mayoral candidate. I built this coalition of working-class people, and because of that, they came out and elected me to be mayor. I look forward to doing that again. I look forward to showing people what I ran on. If you go look at what I ran on and compare it to what we've done, you have to say, this guy ran on these things, bringing down crime, educating children, all of these things, what we're doing about children with learning disabilities, how we're focusing on housing. What I ran on, I was able to accomplish. And that is what I'm excited about, going on the campaign trail and speaking with people about the success of this administration. And listen, no one wants to go through this, folks. Let's not kid ourselves. No one wants to go through this of all that's going on in the city. No one. But no mother wants to go through losing their child during violence. But she gets up and starts an organization, Harlem Mother Save. No person wants to sit in a doctor's office and the doctor gives them a terrible diagnosis. But they started an organization to walk against cancer. This is who we are as a city. And so, yes, this is a tough time, but this is a tough city, and I'm a tough mayor. And I'm going to live up to my obligation of serving the people of the city of New York. And the re-election will take care of itself. Right now, I have to run a city.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Some of your top aides who have recently resigned served in newly created roles, such as Tim Pearson's role as Senior Advisor for Public Safety and Phil Banks' role of Deputy Mayor for Public Safety, a role that hadn't existed for several decades. To that point, because these roles were created for specific people, do you plan to replace them and fill them again?
Yes, I definitely need a Deputy Mayor of Public Safety. And I received 6 calls from people who are outside of government who asked, could they, be considered for the position. And I have some people in government who reached out to me and stated that could they be considered for the position. One of the best things I did was Deputy Mayor of Public Safety. We did the graduation with all of the law enforcement communities coming together. Many of them never were in the same room together to celebrate together. We started to say no matter which color your patch or uniform is, the role is to keep the city safe. I need a Deputy Mayor of Public Safety that can think long-term, that to come up with, with good policies and procedures. What Phil did, it's just unbelievable what he did on many of these areas. And we also are going to look at how do we utilize that senior advisor position as well to go in and monitor, particularly when we deal with those migrants and asylum seekers, to make sure that we were saving taxpayers' dollars. So I'm looking to fill those positions. And I cannot emphasize, we are not having a shortage of people who are asking to be part of the administration. There's no shortage. People want to serve government and want to serve the people of the city of New York, and people are going to step up and do that. And we have a deep bench in the city, and we have a deep bench in the administration. There's a lot of talent in the administration. How are you? Good.
Nice to see you. 2 questions. Thank you. The first question is, there are 300,000 people who work for the city of New York,
yes.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
There have been 10 departures,
yes.
Right? And you have been projecting strength and leadership and focus in this season of crisis for City Hall. What would you say to New Yorkers who might require a softer, more conciliatory tone, saying, yes, this is happening in response to this, and maybe any type of acknowledgement of that, right? So not, there's some, different people need different things. Different people need to hear different things.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So what would you say to New Yorkers who might not need to hear something other than the focus and the strength in light of what's happening in the culture right now? And then secondly, with this opportunity to rebuild your team with these 10 vacant positions, what does that look like? Is that a huddle? Is that a retreat? What is that process of really coalescing and getting that team, again, they're already within the city, they're already public servants moving forward, but is there, going to be some type of, just what does that process look, the rebuilding process? Because there's going to be a transition, obviously.
Yeah, that was part of the announcement that I just stated. That First Deputy Mayor and Chief of Staff is going to sit down and do an analysis of all of those pieces. And we sit down and we in clear communications on how do we continue to staff up, how do we get focus again, refocus, because there's a lot going on. And that is the role that they're going to do. I look forward for them coming back to me and sit down with their vision. Now let's respond to your question about, as I stated, no one wants to go through this. I cannot get any clearer. But I got to leave for this city. And, many of you hear me often talk about, Mom, the challenges she said. Mommy didn't sit down on the edge of her bed and says, woe is me. She never did that. She didn't sit there and say, the universe dealt me a bad hand. She took what she had and she provided. And it was challenging. It was tough. I cannot tell you how tough it was. But there was not one day I saw her fall apart. She would go in her room, close the door. She would cry. I remember when they would try to take her house away from her. She said she went to the 179th Street train station, and as the trains went by, she yelled, she screamed, she cried, she dried her eyes, and then she went home and made sure that her children had that house that we still have. So yes, to New Yorkers who are going through stuff, because New Yorkers are going through stuff. I'm out here, I'm in the streets. I'm hearing the pain that New Yorkers are going through. And so I want them to know, we all go through something. But I'm curious that are people expecting me to go into Gracie Mansion and hide and say, why are they doing this to me? No. Life is tough. And they elected a tough mayor that has gone through a lot. And I need to help people that are going through a lot. And I'm willing to do that. And so while I go through my personal stuff, I need to make sure that everyday New Yorkers are able to get over their personal stuff, and I could do that.
Mr. Mayor, the last time that we got together, you talked about your faith really in the jury system, those New Yorkers you just referenced, and you said that you were putting your faith in that part of the system. By this kind of defiant stand you've taken, do you understand that in essence you're kind of a repeat of your earlier part of the career when you took on criminal justice as a police captain? Are you kind of revisiting that in a way of putting the criminal justice system and trying to make it accountable by fighting this defense so vociferously? And the second question I have is, Pacifica BA is part of a radio network. One of the things we're dealing with is a failure of broadcast radio around the United States to be able to provide accurate information in the event of Helene. And we're seeing right-wing radio describe and sabotage the effort of the FEMA to get information to people and letting them know that this is functioning well. We have an affiliate in Asheville, part of Pacifica, that is informing that the federal government is functioning well and meeting the challenge. And yet what we're hearing, unfortunately, is a distortion, sometimes by right-wing Christian nationalist radio. And how is important is accurate information at a time of crisis, which you know so much about.
No, accurate information is crucial. We're seeing that play out across the entire country. And the stations, these nonprofits, these stations are providing such vital services to your listeners and your ability to do it on a shoestring. You're not receiving major sponsorship like so many others, particularly in right-wing radios. And you need to continue to fight and fortify that and push forward with it. Many people who are here, who are covering me, don't know my history. And many of you do. Many of you have been around, a small number of you've been around me for 35, almost 40 years. And when you see me, you say, this is the guy we've always known. 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement, I was in the police department. As a rookie cop, standing up against racism in the police department. I was a rookie cop, standing up, sergeant, lieutenant. When I was a captain, they wanted to fire me because they didn't do what was right for the city of New York during an emergency. So this is not new ground. Many of you are saying that know me. Y'all saying this is vintage Eric. So to those who just introduced themselves to me, they have a different belief. This has never changed who you're seeing in front of me. I say to all of you, as you do your research on these stories, go Google back in 84, 85, 86. Rookie cop, standing up, saying we need to treat people with dignity. We need to treat people fairly. The criminal justice system must be right. Going to the state senate and traveling to the state facilities upstate to see how we were treating inmates inside. Visiting Rikers Island, as someone alluded to the other day. This is vintage Eric. This is to someone like yourself and a few others in this room. All you're saying is we don't expect anything different from Eric Adams.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, how you doing?
How are you?
Good. A couple of questions for you. Last week, federal prosecutors said at your hearing that there was a City Hall staffer who carried a message from you to straw donors saying that they should not tell the truth to the FBI. And fast forward today, Mohammed Bahi was charged with those, I think it was witness tampering and other charges. The first question is, did you tell Mohammed Bahi at all to communicate to straw donors that they should not tell the truth to federal investigators? And my second question is, if you do get charged in either a superseding indictment or just a separate set of charges by the federal government, in addition to what you already have, are you worried that the support that you do have from people like Al Sharpton or Governor Kathy Hochul, are you worried that would go away?
One, I'm going back to it. I think the question was asked over here. I would never instruct anyone to do anything illegal or improper. I have one saying, and people that know me, they would tell you, Eric's been saying this for years: follow the law. Always follow the law. That's why there's a level of comfort that I have, because I know I follow the law. I did nothing wrong. Follow the law. That is my complete belief. I say it over and over again. And if assisting a constituent for services, such as with the TCO issue is breaking the law, then a whole lot of elected officials are in trouble. This is what we do every day. I follow the law. And I would not instruct anyone to do anything that is breaking the law, period. And I stand by that, and everyone that knows me knows that is how Eric is. What was the second part of your question?
You do get more charges by either a superseding indictment or just a separate.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Listen, I am going to serve my term and run for re-election. And those who are supporters, and I think when both sides of this come out, people are going to have a second look at this entire event that's taking place around me. And that is what we're hoping for. You got a one-sided view of this, extremely creative. And I think my attorneys are going to show both sides. I'm going to do my job as the mayor, and the people of this city is going to determine who's going to be the next mayor. And if support comes, because as it sees now, more and more people are coming and say, you know what, I really dug into this, I really read this, you need to get the support you need, Eric. What's up, Jeff?
Good afternoon. Wanted to talk a little more about this restructuring of government. The people have described the organizational structure as a, quote, shit show. And I'm wondering if you can speak to what's going to change with that. Obviously, first deputy mayor coming in is an opportunity. And then second to that, we've seen a ton of resignations. Can you confidently say that we've seen the end of high profile or larger resignations in the administration, or could there be more to come?
Yeah, and I think it's very important, 3.8 million people, 8.3 million people, 35 million opinions, like when people come to me and say, Jeff Ryden is a shit show, I said, stop beating up on that guy, man. He tries his best. He's not the best reporter in the city, but at least he tries, So I understand when those numerical minority come to you with their opinion, because everybody has an opinion in the city. You know that, and I know that, The reality is, take that show that you're talking about, and then go look at the numbers. Look at how much housing we built and how much housing we put on the line. Look at the numbers of how many people we moved out of shelters into permanent housing. How many people are participating in the FEPS voucher program, more in the history of the city. Our children outpacing the state in reading and math. Our subway system, the lowest number of robberies in recorded history. I could go down and out. All of you heard this before. And so those who are outside and that have been criticizing the administration since January 2nd, 2022, and you go to them and seek them out and say, let me hear something bad about Eric, of course they're going to say something bad about Eric. They would say something bad even when we were turning the city around. So let them have their opinions, but facts don't lie. You a good researcher, go look at the facts. This show has been a great show for the city.
There's going to be restructuring, some changes, right?
But why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? I mean, only a fool would say, what can you do to improve? I've been on retreats with administration. Businesses go on retreats all the time to say, as someone mentioned, I think Marsha mentioned, you go back and say, what could you do better? What could you learn from? Isn't that part of growth?
So I want to grow. I want to be the best I can in my position. And not only are we hearing from internal, because you don't want to only talk to yourself, I'm reaching out to some of my external people who have been around us and have been extremely supportive. The business community, I'm sure the business community would tell you, we've had a mayor that has been clearly responsive to our needs. So yes, we're going to go in. We're going to look at what we could do better, what we can build on, what we were successful, and we're going to continue to move forward. But anyone who states that this administration has not been an administration that's produced for New York, you're not looking at the numbers. It's a,
No, I'm serious.
okay. Join the team. Yeah. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you? Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to circle back. Are we expecting more resignations? And at what point does it become just too many investigations, indictments, criminal convictions for your admin to survive?
Well, I can imagine a mayor or a head of an agency or head of a business saying, no, we'll never get any more resignations. That's not life. People come in and out of government. And I'm sorry?
There's been a startling amount of resignations.
Why is that? With 300,000 people, you think that's a startling amount? It's like the ability, some people are departing because they want to do something else with their lives. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And some people we thought was not a good fit. So there's a combination. But the goal is don't remain stagnant. Be willing to evolve and grow. I can't get that any clearer. I want to continue to produce a great product for the city, and whatever it takes to women up and man up to do it, we're going to do. How are you, Melissa?
I'm okay, thank
Good.
you. Emma asked a variation of my question. I was going to ask you if you're running for mayor. I think for re-election. I think
Yes.
you've answered that
Yes.
question, but I wanted to ask you, why does your campaign seem sort of invisible, right? There's no officers listed. There's no campaign website. We don't see any sort of online fundraising. It almost seems invisible. So one looking from arm's length might think maybe you're not really running for re-election.
Well, first, my methodology is you don't spend too early. I have a great team and infrastructure that's in place, a great body of volunteers, great advisors, and so you don't want to start hiring up until you have to. And many campaigns run out of resources because they want to be so fancy. And I'm on the ground. My volunteers and supporters and all these different entities and communities, particularly in the immigrant communities, the Nepalese community, the Pakistani community, all of these different communities, the Caribbean communities that have been historically ignored, they are really fired up. We communicate with them on a regular, and you don't want to peak too soon. And every campaign that I did, we never peak too soon. We follow the right flow, and you want to know when to hit the ground. So all this fluff, fancy stuff that costs money, you're wasting money.
Can I just follow up?
Yes, you can.
So I guess the question is, separately, do you think it's hard to campaign for re-election? Is one of the reasons also that, with all these investigations going on, it's kind of hard to be out there and ask for a second term when this stuff hasn't played out yet. Is that part of it? And then a question from my coworker, Jonathan Dienst. Are you denying that the issue of straw donors ever came up with Rana Abasova or Mr. Bahi, between you and them?
Okay, what I'm not going to do, and I'm sure you can respect, any questions dealing with the case at all, any case, attorney. Alex is a great attorney. Let Alex handle those questions. I will go back to what I answered here, and I answered here. I will never instruct anyone to do anything that's improper. Never have, never will do that.
Hello, Mayor. How are you? At the time of your indictment, if I recall well, you said that you would fight the injustices with every ounce of your strength and spirit.
Yes.
Despite everything that's happening and will happen, what is the source of your strength? What do you seek it? What do you find it? What keeps you going, Mayor?
Yeah, I like that. I think somebody asked me the other day, I think whenever I'm going through a major difference in my life, I go back and say, okay, how are you eating? How are you exercising? How are you breathing? How are you meditating? Because when you're not going through stuff, you could live on emotional junk food. When you're going through stuff, you need to make sure you're prepared for the journey. And my source of my strength is, and many of you know, my spiritual base. But also, I think absent from the body, presence in the spirit, I keep hearing mommy's voice, baby, you're right, and baby, you got this. And that's the source of my strength. She's been here with me just because she transitioned physically. I still feel mommy's here spiritually, and she has guided me through all sorts of things. And, she didn't bring me here to be the mayor to abandon me. What's happening?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Good.
So with this restructuring and with the recent resignations, I know you said it's not that many compared to 300,000, but 8 or so in a week is a lot, and these are all senior officials. Are you saying none of this is connected to your indictment and the federal investigations surrounding the administration? Because it seems like that's kind of the tone, that this is all just the usual shuffle that happens after a few years.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Not one person that has decided to do something else with their life said, Eric, it's because so much is going on. Not one person. Not one person. And many of them, like DM Banks, stated months ago, and I said, I need you to finish some of the stuff that you're doing. Not one person has stated that. The chancellor made it clear that, this is what I wanted to do. We expedited it because we wanted to give Melissa a good chance. So now one of the people who you're stated that there's too much going on around your case that I need to leave. Not one have stated that. Not at all. I think that people, I like people to leave when they can't do their job of delivering for the city of New York. As long as you can deliver for the city of New York and hold to the high ethical standards that come with it, you could work for me. But people wanted to go on with their lives. And, working in government, it's hard, I'm telling you, and sometimes people just say, listen, I think David said it best. He said, I ran out of gas. Especially when you bring everything you got to the job. Some people can go through the motion. They come in, they sit down, they just go through the motion. But when you give everything you have to the job, morning, noon, and night, you run out of gas. And David said it best. David said, listen, I ran out of gas. I couldn't do it at the level that I'm used to doing it at.
Hey, how's it going?
All right.
So Rana Abasova was fired yesterday. Winnie Greco resigned, and Ahsan Chugtai was fired about a week ago. Can you provide any sort of explanation for why these three lost their positions? And then my second question, can you provide any explanation for why these three people lost their positions?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
My second question is, we reported earlier this week the Evolve pilot is under investigation. What's going on with that pilot? You claimed over a month ago the city was still analyzing the data to see if they'll deploy the scanners elsewhere. Are you still analyzing, or are you abandoning the product and not moving forward with more installation?
So let's do it in pieces. First, the number of people you talk about. There's a firewall that the administration is doing, the determination on those who are fired. Those who resign, they can resign, an employee can resign anytime they want. And so the terminations were done by the firewall. I didn't make those determinations. The administration firewall, based on our legal team, thought it was the best way to do it. And so we're not going to go into the personnel the personnel issues that involve them, but I didn't make those determinations. Evolve, we want to get it right. We don't want to, right now we did not have to spend no taxpayers' dollars doing this. And we want to really kick the tires, make sure that it can produce the product that we want. I had a conversation with Commissioner Daughtry, said how we're looking, what's going on. OTI wants to do an inspection. Because once we go into contract and you bought the product, we don't want to have buyer's remorse. We want to get it right. We're pleased with what we're getting thus far, but we want to make sure that the product we're buying can withstand the rigor of our transportation system, and so we want to get it right. And once we get it right and we feel confident, we'll make a determination. We're going to keep it, expand it, or we're going to look and see because other companies can come and do it at the same time. Whoever can give us the product, we're going to go for it.
Right now.
We're still testing. Yep, still testing. Yes, how are you?
How are you? I'm
Good.
well. You say that you stay in the moment, and it must be a very difficult time to be doing everything you're doing, but the court still has not picked up a day for trial. If it's delayed, how will that impact your, running for mayor? New Yorkers will want to know whether you'll run a second term. What will you say to those New Yorkers if the trial gets delayed? That's one question. And the other question would be about Governor Hochul. You've said that you have a great relationship with her. You're talking to her. She's been supportive. You've talked about the new structure of your new administration. She's been guiding you. Has there been any talk about the possibility of new charges on you? You've said that this, the prosecutors are very creative, so that could be a possibility. Has that come up on the conversations between you and her?
I'm not going to go into private conversations, and only the prosecutors can determine what they do. They don't coordinate with me. I don't have any coordination with that. I need to stay focused on running the city, and that's what I'm going to do. And the legal team, my attorney, Alex, if any questions, I'm pretty sure he's willing to answer dealing with that. And, I don't want to get into, I'm not campaigning right now on City Hall property. I am doing the role as the mayor right now. How are you, Kelly?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
First question to you about Sheena Wright's departure. Did she have a conversation with you about leaving? Did you speak to her yesterday? And can you just go into a little bit more detail about what you mean the disrespect that she received in the last couple of days? And you mentioned earlier that there's 300,000 city employees, but they aren't appointed by you. They don't run city agencies. And so in any normal administration, seeing so many people leave in 1 month separate from the federal investigations would raise red flags. I'm wondering why that is not something that you don't see, or something that you're not understanding from the outside looking in.
Okay, first of all, I'm not going into Sheena's, in my conversations with Sheena. Again, I say this over and over again. People enjoy confiding in me and speaking with me because they never hear it again. And not many people have that reputation. You tell someone something, they're immediately running out the door sharing what was told. You speak with me, it stays with me. I don't go around talking about what we say. And I'm glad I have that reputation. I'm going to maintain that. I think what happened on her block, I thought that was really just inappropriate, as she's on her block, and that's my belief. People may have a different belief, and that's fine. But that's my. Why you okay? You want to be the union member? So that is like I said, that is my belief. And when you talk about appointment, I appoint all my commissioners, all of them.
300,000 other employees, those are city employees that aren't appointed by you.
Right.
And your DMs run city agencies, and at any normal time, regardless of the federal probes, so many top people leaving would raise red flags. And so I'm wondering to you, you say you're focused, but that it just, the juxtaposition there doesn't seem, how is it not?
I disagree. Not only do I appoint all my commissioners have appointment powers within their agencies. My deputy mayors have appointment. There's a large number of people who are appointed by city government. And when the administration comes in. And so when you do an analysis based on 3 years in, not only are we talking about 3 years we're in, think about the 3 years. The same people who were on the front line for COVID had to inherit the migrants and asylum seekers. Up all night. I think about Zach Iskel, nights of calling him 2 a.m. in the morning, leaving his family to come out to make sure that we were going to deal with the 4,000 migrants and asylum seekers we were getting a week. This wears on you. When I spoke with Dr. Fassan, and Dr. Fassan was sharing just his personal aspect of how much this, just took out of him. And so, under normal circumstances, it's a lot. And then when you add any aggravating factors like the migrants and asylum seekers, like COVID, like the other issues we have to face, it wears on you. And if people want to make a determination, it's time to cycle out. All I can say is thank you for your time served. Monica, it's good seeing you at the Polish parade.
Thank you for coming.
Drinking the wine and eating the bread.
Exactly, Polish hospitality.
And doing the dance.
That's right. Mr. Mayor, thank you for that. Today I want to ask you, will these investigations or everything that's going on affect the way you are interacting with ethnic and immigrant communities in New York?
That's a great question.
And the second question, New York City restored the original road diet for McGuinness Boulevard. Why now? Because the community has been going through these changes and now again change. You spoke about business community supporting you, so why this change now?
Well, actually, there were great conversations responding to the McGuinness Boulevard. There were great conversations with business leaders, community leaders, Deputy Mayor Mira Joshi, the borough president, and they were able to come up with what we thought was a win-win. Now, if everyone is not happy, I learned that's a good win, And so we were able to come up with a way to get the items that were important to both groups. And hats off to them for doing so, to bringing both groups to the table because they were so far apart. And now these groups seem to have come together and to be able to come with a solution. And it seemed like both groups, no one is 100% happy, but they are New York happy.
100% not happy better than the previous 100% not happy. People were not happy, and now different people are more unhappy than the others. So why is the change? Because that's
not what I got. I got that both groups said we can live with what the changes are going to be. Now, I know because I was a lieutenant in the 9-4 precinct, I know that's a heavily Polish community, good working class people that are there. But from what I got, that when I spoke with Deputy Mayor Mira Joshi, I got that both groups say we can live with this because there were entities that were negotiating for different populations, and they both said we can live with these changes. What was your first question?
Groups, community, immigrant groups, ethnic
groups?
Oh
yes. That's a great question. That's a great question. A part of my campaigning was that I stated I wanted to go with those communities who were traditionally ignored. Going into the Bangladeshi community, going into the Chinese community, the Nepalese community, the African diaspora, the Italian community. I wanted to go into those other communities and tell them you could participate in government. There are ways to do so. They were afraid. And you look after my election, my strong support in the Korean community, you started to see, because of empowering these communities around participating in politics, you started to see diverse groups starting getting elected in this city. And I am concerned that this can be a real chill on these communities.
You know, when I went into the Polish community, people were not coming out to the Polish community and really supporting them to be in politics. So I'm concerned that this can send a chilling impact to those communities who finally said, this is a mayor candidate that listens to us, that speaks to us, that attends our events. Look how many flag raising we did. People attacked me for doing flag raising, not realizing how important those flag raisings were for those communities. And so I brought these communities in government. I brought them into places they've never been before. These communities have come here to City Hall. They hold their heritage events at Gracie Mansion that they never were allowed to do before. You know, we have first time ever flag raisers, never done for these communities before. Coming here in my round tables, never done for these communities before. And so I'm hoping they do not go back into a shell, that they don't look at this as a moment that they should not participate in the politics of this city. You know, but you can imagine it could have an impact when you give the impression of what, you know, some people have given. So I just got to keep doing what I'm doing. Thank you. Thank you very much.
administration, ASEAN is at the heart of our U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy. We are committed to ASEAN centrality, and our partnership is critical to maintaining a free and open Indo-Pacific region. We continue to partner with ASEAN and its members to advance issues that matter most to our combined 1 billion people, including building an inclusive digital economy, addressing the climate crisis, accelerating the clean energy transition, and enhancing maritime security, to name just a few. To further strengthen our critical partnerships in Southeast Asia, Secretary Blinken will be traveling to Vientiane tonight to represent the United States at the East Asia Summit and the ASEAN-US Summit. This will be the Secretary's second trip to Vientiane this year and his 19th trip to the Indo-Pacific region during this administration. During these meetings, the Secretary will reiterate the United States' commitment to ASEAN centrality and highlight how the U.S.-ASEAN Comprehensive Strategic Partnership is delivering concrete benefits for our combined 1 billion people. The Secretary will further discuss geopolitical issues, including the ongoing crisis in Burma, the importance of upholding international law in the South China Sea, and peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait, and Russia's aggression against Ukraine. At the same time, Secretary Blinken will affirm U.S. support for the Lao-PDR ASEAN Chair Year and commitment to further strengthening U.S.-Lao-PDR Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. This morning, the White House announced that given the projected trajectory and strength of Hurricane Milton, President Biden is postponing his upcoming trip to Germany and Angola in order to oversee preparations for and the response to Hurricane Milton, in addition to the ongoing response to the impacts of Hurricane Helene across the Southeast. Secretary Biden was planning to join the president in Germany and Angola, but given this postponement, now expects to return home to Washington from Laos. With that, Matt.
Yeah, I'll just start on logistics at the top. During these meetings in Vientiane, which meetings are those?
So the meetings that he'll have both summit and bilateral meetings, which we'll announce in the coming days. We're firming up the schedule still, but we'll announce them as we usually do in the schedule the day before they occur.
Okay, and then this is just kind of a minor point, but ASEAN is at the heart of U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy, and I had been thinking that the U.S.-Japan alliance was the cornerstone of the U.S. Indo-Pacific.
They are both critical alliances and partnerships for the United States.
And the Quad?
Also critical. One of the things you've heard the Secretary talk about the most is that we've been able to both rebuild our diplomatic alliances and forge new alliances like the Quad during this administration.
And the U.S.-South Korea alliance, what's that?
Also a critical, important alliance to
so
peace and security.
They can't all be at the heart of. They can't all be.
It's a big heart. We have a big heart.
You can have 4 cornerstones. Okay. All right. This has nothing to do with travel, but or at least the Secretary's travel. But I just wanted to get, before we get into the Middle East, an update, if you have one, on the Lebanon flights.
I do. So another U.S. organized flight left from Beirut this morning for Istanbul. It had approximately 120 U.S. citizens, legal permanent residents, and their family members on board. That brings the total number of U.S. citizens, legal permanent residents, and family members who have left on U.S. organized flights since we started them last week to over 1,000 on 10 flights. We've had 10 flights go out, each with a capacity of 300 people. Total of 3,000 seats that we've made available on these flights have been filled so far by over 1,000 people. In addition, with flights that have gone out on Middle East Airlines, we have now blocked over 900 seats, and we know that hundreds of them have been filled by Americans as well.
All right, so 10 flights, 3,000 seats, only a third of them have been filled.
Correct.
My understanding is that there was one flight that left maybe last night that only had like 19 people on it.
Somewhere around that, yeah. The flight last night, they varied. Last night was a very small number of people, but today we had, as I said, about around 120 people.
Fair enough, but I'm just wondering, since you've said that you're going to keep organizing these flights for as long as there's demand, at what point does the demand? What point is demand so diminished that you think that you don't need to do them anymore?
When we get to a point that there is let me tell you how we would generally look at it. If we get to a point where there is sufficient capacity on commercial flights that don't require us to organize